Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome to the White Hatter News Show.
Darren here.
And Brandon. Let's get into some updates.
This will be an interesting show, I think. I think we're with some of the topics that you've picked, we're going to drill down a little bit deeper.
Yeah, it's going to be some good discussions, I think.
A little bit more philosophical discussions. Philosophical. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, here we go.
What's new with us this week? Last week, new expert interview was posted here on YouTube with Dr. Jillian Roberts on the topic of online pornography and challenges.
Yeah, she's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. Came across her accidentally. A follower of ours was taking her child to Dr. Roberts for treatment, and I learned that she's actually an expert in the area of everything to do with how pornography is affecting youth and hypersexualization in media. She wrote a really good book. When I read the book, it was like, oh, kind of thing. So
good interview.
Yeah, it was just an excellent interview. It's on our YouTube channel, and you can also get to it off of our Facebook page, which is
The White Hatter.
thewhitehatter.ca. So we've actually created a little bit more of a strategic alliance with Dr. Roberts and her group, which is called Sparks, which we're really excited about, and there'll be some later advertised announcements on that. Right.
We'll look forward to more of that. Upcoming webinars. So
we a little bit of a lip stumble there.
Yeah. Upcoming webinars this week. This week, our free one is technology, sleep, and children, and then our premium ones are for kids and families with the kids ages 9 to 11, internet safety and digital literacy.
Yeah, looking forward to that one as well. All of them, actually. The technology and sleep issue, where we really kind of dive deep on that one as well, where we spoke to doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, specialized sleep doctors who specialize in that area. So we kind of want to separate fact from fiction. That's what we're doing in that presentation. And then you've got a busy next couple of weeks coming up where you're actually doing online training for families with kids, right? 4 to 5s. And then the second one is for teens between grades 6 to 7 and their families. So that'll be really cool.
Let's...
Looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I think it will be. Yeah, for sure.
Let's get into some news topics.
Okay. In the news. In the news.
First topic we're going to talk about is of a company we have discussed previously on the show, ClearView Ai. For those of you who are new to the show, who haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our show. It really helps us.
Yeah. I think we're up to 651 now. I checked this morning.
Okay, cool.
651. Yeah.
Okay, almost at 1,000.
Almost.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
ClearView. So that's the company down in the United States that they created a software that basically scours the entire internet, copying people's faces, analyzing it, and finding names, associated faces. All you do is take a picture of someone, you put it into their software, and it tells you who they are by backtracing all their collected photographs.
Yeah, there was big controversy over that, right? A lot of blowback publicly on that. A lot of law enforcement were using it, military were using it. I'm sure other agencies with 3-letter words or 3-letter or acronyms were using it as well. So correct me if I'm wrong. So they're now saying that they're not offering this in Canada any longer.
Canada, we have more strict privacy laws than down in the United States. So there was big concern over allegations in regards to Canadian police agencies using this technology.
Abusing it.
Okay. And ClearView has come up with a statement saying to our local privacy commissioner that they're ceasing services here in Canada and with therefore law enforcement here in Canada.
But with that announcement, you've kind of identified maybe a little bit of a workaround.
Maybe I spend too much time in like corporate legal sort of fields, but it's couldn't then like a subsidiary company license their product and then a company in Canada could hire the subsidiary to then use the product?
That's a backdoor.
It's like, ClearView, we are not, offering our services, but this company who's using our services, you can use them.
Yeah, but then when you think like the OIPC would then kind of focus their attention on that company, because if I was in the OIPC,
I guess it's a matter you have to know what the company is. I mean, I can open a company license in like Malta and I run a company out of there.
Yeah, but the OIPC has some pretty good ability to. Powers of search and that kind of stuff. You don't think that they would figure out who owns the company?
In a public organization, like a law enforcement agency, okay, fine, there's probably evidence of that, but like a private company?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is now I'll speak for law enforcement. If I was a law enforcement agency, and I knew that the OIPC or even the federal privacy commissioner was looking into this and said this. Would I want to kind of backdoor their decisions? I don't think I'd.
Well, maybe not. I mean, maybe not municipal, but maybe like a more secretive department agency.
We have secretive agencies in Canada. We're Canadian, eh? We don't
Apparently
have those.
we do. Apparently World War II, we had spies who trained up in Canada for the Allies.
Canada had Camp X.
Right.
I did a lot of research on this, right, in my combative days, and Camp X was kind of the group that trained spies during World War II for both the Americans, the Britons, and it was down here in Canada. Yeah, the Allies. Yeah,
so,
that's right,
anyways,
the Allies.
yeah. But so, okay, maybe municipal departments not worth it, but maybe those with higher letters.
I actually, I don't disagree with this because it was ripe for abuse, right? It really was. So I think. I don't necessarily disagree with this, right? So
now the interesting thing is that again, ClearView's whole mandate is all their data is from publicly published pictures.
I get it, but it was still creepy about what they were doing and how they were doing it, right?
So should Facebook cease their operations and facial ID as well?
I know. Here we go. We're going.
I'm just saying. Facebook does kind of the same thing.
Well, actually, Yandex is now doing the same thing, right? The Russian search engine, right? I mean, I'm pretty convinced they are now using facial recognition.
Well, obviously.
Because it's amazing when you do reverse image searches, which we talk about in our OSINT programs that Brandon's going to be doing more later on that, right? Some announcements coming down the pipe on that one. But it's interesting how Yandex is now picking up on pictures that TinEye or Google reverse image aren't picking up on. And you got to kind of ask yourself why, right? So, and Yandex is Russian owned, so they don't fall under any of these types of jurisdictions. But it's interesting to see where we're going with this. You know, I don't want to turn into a country like China where they have facial recognition everywhere and being used to control the population, right? Like that's that's not on for me.
I saw an interesting article about China about they had this technology. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's this interesting thing about where jaywalkers. They would take a picture of someone who's jaywalking and it would take their face and then put their information on a billboard to shame them.
Oh, yeah, public shaming. That's become a big thing over the past couple months now, depending upon what political side of the realm you're on in other countries. Well, even in our country in Canada, and how they're now using social media to shame if your opinion is different than mine. But I mean, in China right now, the police wear glasses. They're like Google glasses now, where they walk around and they're looking at everybody, and it's using facial recognition to identify people who maybe were the jaywalkers, and now all of a sudden they're getting fined or arrested, or you're a dissident, right? Like right now in Hong Kong, because of what's going on in Hong Kong with China now taking over the laws. I don't know if you read this online, but a lot of the Hong Kong people are trying to clean up their digital dossiers right now because they're concerned now that China's now taken over, they're going to have access to all that, and they're now going to use that against them.
Maybe black market plastic surgery will
increase.
It's
going to be interesting, right? It's going to be interesting.
Well, let's talk more about law enforcement.
We need our tin hats.
Yes. Let's talk more about law enforcement, shall we?
Sure, why not?
Allegations. Police purchasing hacked data from websites.
What?
So basically, Motherboard, which is a subsidiary of Vice, had obtained webinar slides.
So is that like a news magazine? Like for people who don't know?
Yeah, they're a news agency.
Yeah.
Obtained webinar slides from a company called SpyCloud.
Ooh.
All these names.
Sounds
Presented
like a James Bond movie.
ClearView Ai, SpyCloud, Camp X. Wow, all these names.
Sounds like a James Bond movie.
Presented prospective customers in a webinar. The company claimed to empower investigators from law enforcement agencies, enterprises, and people from around the world to basically catch bad guys using hacked data that's been made available.
So to be clear here, so what you just said is SpyCloud is collecting information that was dropped onto the internet, either in the light web or the deep web, by hacked organizations, by hacker organizations that wasn't public, but they hacked the information. And once they hacked the information, they put it online. And now SpyCloud is taking that information and making it public.
Yeah, they're packaging it together
and selling it.
And they're basically their target audience is investigators, aka police agencies and such.
So they're saying that although it was private information, because it was hacked and put out publicly now, because it was hacked, I'm collecting it because it was publicly now, and so therefore I'm going to collect it and sell it.
Yeah, so I mean,
right? Is that kind of
Basically, so I guess it brings into the whole ethics kind of idea in terms of, is it ethical for a police agency or an investigator to purchase data, which is already made public already. It's just a more streamlined approach of getting the data. So you purchase the data from this company who you can use in your investigations.
See, my little voice is going, there's something not right about that, right?
So-
but what about whistleblowers?
Well,
right?
people are talking about how, okay, is this even allowed? And I guess my hypothesis and my sort of
Do we need
example,
our tin hats for this?
my example would be, okay, what if I'm a bad guy? I'm a bad person. I break into a corporate building and I steal a super secretive file from a locked filing cabinet that has criminal implications to it.
Oh, like the Nixon files?
Sure, whatever. I get dirt on a company that's doing something criminal, and then I take that file that
And
I
you
stole.
broke the law to get it.
I stole and I gave it to a police agency. Can that be used as evidence? It's the same kind of idea, right? Right?
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, there's something that just, I mean, although, see, if they handed me the information, my gut tells me, once I got the information, I now need to prove it's true. So what I would do is I would then get a search warrant from a court based upon what was handed to me to go and get the original things to make that court admissible. Because I think that what was given to me, how do you know it's true? You don't. You need to investigate from a policing standpoint, right? So I'm just playing this out in my mind as a police, although I've been retired for 4 years and case law could have changed. I'm thinking that if I was handed a document that appeared to be real, knowing that was probably obtained illegally, could I use that as evidence in court? I don't think so. I think what I would have to do is that if I know that this document came from ABC company, based upon what I just got, I would then prepare a search warrant to go to that company to find that document.
Okay, makes sense.
That's what I would do. Because then, using a search warrant to get the document, I now know that it's a real document, and I can now enter that as evidence.
That makes sense. I guess the difference in this case is that it includes innocent people and potentially guilty people.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the boatload of data that's been compromised, including usernames and passwords.
Yeah.
Right, so...
But again, that would only apply to law enforcement, right? That wouldn't apply to anybody else outside of law enforcement, right? Like, who cares, right?
Well,
I mean,
they said that they're, enterprises as well.
Yeah.
Like corporate espionage or corporate investigators.
Yeah. I just, from a law enforcement standpoint, I just think there's a couple more things they would have to hop through to make it court admissible. But still, it kind of makes me feel a little icky.
Yeah.
There's something icky about it, right? But anyways, that's just me.
All right.
That's just me.
Let's hope some drones. Drones. So, university researchers have developed an AI algorithm that can predict a drone pilot's location simply doing analysis on the drone's flight path up to about 78% accuracy.
Okay, that's cool.
I don't know how this works. It just sounded cool, and I want to put it in the show.
It is cool.
It's like, okay, you have someone doing something they shouldn't be doing with a drone. Either A, they're in unauthorized airspace, or B, they're harassing people with a drone.
I know.
Okay, so apparently you can plug in the flight path, and this system will tell you roughly where the person's located.
I mean, they're creepers that are using these things right now.
That
right?
too.
Where they're throwing these things up and they're going through backyards looking for people who are,
Some of the cameras on these things are like...
sunbathers and people and stuff. And I remember we were in Washington State pre-COVID, and we're in a hotel.
Everything has to be prefaced with that now, right?
And we were out on the deck looking over a lake, and all of a sudden this drone dropped down from nowhere, and it's like sitting right in front of us, right? And it was one of the white ones, the bigger ones. I forget what company it is.
The DJI probably.
Yeah,
they have the white ones.
So it was flying about like 15 feet in front of us, and it stopped on us, and then it kept going. So you could tell it was looking in all the hotel room windows and stuff, and it's like, what the hell, man, right? So I mean, the other thing.
That's why some places in the States are giving people ability to shoot them down.
Well, I bought you and me a small drone, right? Because the thought,
a tiny little thing.
The thought was in our presentation.
With like a 420p camera.
Right, but the thought was in our presentations in schools we could toss these things up, and then it could get an eagle eye view of the classroom. But I quickly found out that you can't really control those small ones.
No, the small ones are like, or they last for like 13 minutes and they just die.
And then all of a sudden they fly into somebody in the crowd, which we don't want to have happening, right? So, but the technology is cool. When you think about it, I mean, they got technology now. The military uses it. You'll see it on the back of Humvees and stuff, that when a shot is, some police departments are now using it in cities, right? When a shot is fired, depending upon, they now use technology that can tell you basically where the shot came from. Right? So I bet you it's kind of works on the same premise to a degree.
I would assume. I don't know how it works.
It is
Sounds cool, but anyways.
It is cool. Scary, but cool.
Yeah.
But cool. But yeah, it was really freaky when we were out on the deck of that hotel. Jillian, you were there with us teaching, but this happened prior to you. It was just Beth and I down there teaching when I was down there about Lake Jillian, and boom, this thing dropped, like I said, 20 feet in front of us, and it's like staring right at us, and then it starts moving across the hotel, and you're going, oh yeah, there's some creeper looking in all the windows and stuff. Right?
Oh, so plug it into the algorithm and tells you where they are. Apparently.
Too bad I didn't have my slingshot with me or something, right? So, or my attack hawk. Have you seen those things? People are training hawks now and eagles.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
So that if you see a drone,
get it.
Yeah, they're like airports are now using them, right? Like they use hawks and eagles to go after ducks and birds, and now they're using them to go after drones, right? It's like
get it,
go get it. Right? Anyways, kind of fun.
Security update. Vulnerability announcement regards to Kasa, TP-Link smart cameras.
It's like the Ring, right? It's kind of like the Ring doorbell.
Yeah, interesting story about this one. So this story comes from a security researcher by the name of Jason Kent, and
like Clark Kent, reminds me of Superman.
Interesting story about this one. So they purchased a camera to identify what kind of creature has been eating their cucumber plants.
Did you just say creature?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so when you say creature, I think the monster from the Black Lagoon, right, or something like, or the Blob, right? The old movies.
Well, we don't know that's what they bought the camera. They don't know what's eating their cucumbers. Anyways, so this
like you said, it could have been Sasquatch.
Could have been.
If there is a Sasquatch, where's my tin hat? Anyways, back on top.
So the security researcher slash hobby farmer.
The creature is probably the husband.
plugged in the camera to put a camera feed on their cucumber patch or something, and they noticed some interesting technical issues with the camera.
And
basically,
those issues were
what they call a man-in-the-middle attack, which could allow an outside attacker.
What is a man-in-the-middle attack?
Oh, basically an outside attacker kind of jumps into the middle of the video stream.
And you don't know?
And don't know who they are, and they can kind of access to the camera feed.
So they can see what's going on.
Yeah. Now,
why is that a big deal? The camera's outside, right? Like, who cares?
The company does also make in-home cameras as well, and like doorbell cameras and such. Now
that becomes a big
we don't know if this issue is all their cameras or the particular camera the security researcher had.
So was this brought to the attention of the company? Because remember, there are people out there that make a good chunk of money at looking at these vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And then they bring it to the attention of companies who then pay them for locating that vulnerability, right? So the person who found this, did he do, or she, because was it he or she?
I don't know. Jason Kent, that's their name.
We'll just say they. Did they bring this to the attention of this company first before going public?
Yeah, they did. So they had, on March 2020, they basically told the company, hey, I work for the security company. We do pen testing, basically.
Right.
There's an issue here. On June 15th, the company said the vulnerability they found would be fixed. At the time of the publication, it still has not been fixed.
Oh.
Now, this was about 2 days ago. I got the article, and I actually checked today, and I went to TP-Link's website to look for the security bulletin.
Right.
And there's been no updates on the security bulletin since 2019. And I checked, all the news sources, and again, there's been no updates. So, I guess what we're saying here is if you have a camera from Kasa or TP-Link, we don't know if this vulnerability is all cameras, so this particular one. Basically, you may want to consider not using the camera at this point in time.
If it's a camera outside or inside.
Inside. I mean, it depends on your risk assessment.
Oh, and I guess if the camera, you have it outside, say, overlooking your pool, which a lot of people will do because of kids, right, and stuff. And if it's overlooking a pool and maybe you go outside to sunbathe in stuff, or no stuff, you may want to think twice about that, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. to say.
Yeah, I mean, most companies are pretty good at doing updates right away and informing clients, but it's just interesting to see that there's been no sort of...
Again, I think, that's one of the issues with the Internet of Things, right? With technology comes vulnerability, right? And so I think a lot of these companies are not building devices with security in mind at the base level, right?
Or if there is an issue, that you get on that issue right away.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's the other thing.
and that's, I guess, the issue I'm seeing here is, again, the security bulletin, there's been no communication to the customers going, hey, the security researcher who has published a blog now because they gave enough time.
Yeah, it is interesting to me, though, that it within this one specific industry with the cameras, it seems to be an ongoing issue, right? Like they seem to pump out these devices very quickly, right, to stay ahead of the curve. But it appears that when they're pumping these devices out, that they're not thinking of security at the ground level. I mean, we spoke to commissioner from Australia who said that she's really pushing security by design.
Yep,
right?
you can see that here on YouTube.
Yeah, so I think that is so important, not just for the software side of things, but I also think from the hardware side of things, and which kind of segues nicely into the
because
next.
it's not just cameras, and we've seen cheap smartwatches have the same issues. Good
'cause
example.
that's not an iWatch, right?
Yeah, no. So apparently the software Set Tracker, which is a pretty predominant application, more so used in Europe than here in North America, but basically the security researcher team from Pentest Partners basically discovered that the server that was sending messages to these knockoff smartwatches or cheaper smartwatches, you could basically put whatever message you want, sending it to the smartwatch. And the hypothesis, the sort of scenario they were using here is, let's say you get a cheap smartwatch for an older person, a grandparent, because they don't need a brand new Apple Watch, but just something to keep time reminders for like taking pills. Well, basically this research team were able to basically send whatever message they want to the smartwatch.
And didn't you write a paper when you were working on your degree, not your master's, but your undergrad? Didn't you write a paper on the issue of medical devices and the risks of being hacked?
Yeah, and there's still issues with medical devices, especially like medical devices don't get updated. Like you buy it once, you keep it until it breaks down, kind of thing.
Right.
So because they're expensive. So yeah. Basically, now the issue here has been fixed. So this one's been fixed. So the company Set Tracker on the server backend, they fixed the issue, so you no longer can do this.
So this is a good example of a company that was made aware of a potential fault, and they immediately fixed the fault, right?
Yeah.
Good corporate business.
Yeah.
That to me shows good ethical, moral compass, doing what they should be doing once an issue is brought to their attention, compared to the TPI, whatever you said,
Yeah.
right? The camera company.
Yeah, some companies still aren't very upfront with.
Yeah, you also got to ask yourself how many of these app developers, prior to going to market, will actually pen test their products first.
Well, if you're making a cheaper product, you don't have the financial ability to always do the testing.
And that's the issue, and that's why.
But people don't always want to pay for the expensive stuff.
Yeah, but then it may protect you down the road from legal expenses associated with it, right? So, anyways, just
Interesting story.
Yeah.
A company doing something right. I mean, obviously the issue's not right, but fixing the issue's the right part.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it, especially when it comes to medical type. Take a pill. Well, what happens if I'm taking the pill too often? It could be
that's the hypothesis.
Yeah,
that
there
they
could
were...
be contraindications associated with that.
And they were also able...
contraindications. It's a medical term that I learned from a medical doctor. It's when bad things happen to you because we're doing something with regards to medication.
Something bad happens to you because you're doing too many good things.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well, no. It's contraindication is what happens if you take a medication. What could the medication do to you? What are some of the side effects?
Okay.
I guess that's another word for side effect is no. Anyways.
All right.
Yeah, I'm becoming medicated. I'm trying to be like you.
Don't.
I-
Story update from a story that we've talked
You're right,
about
'cause
before.
sometimes I don't know what goes on in your head. I'll be very
Don't go
honest.
in there.
No.
Yahoo engineer. This is a story about a Yahoo engineer back in 2018.
Oh, I remember this story.
That Yahoo had big issues. There was a whole class action lawsuit. If you had a Yahoo account between certain time frames, you could have applied and got money, basically. But basically what happened, so this kind of follow from that. So Yahoo engineer, an email engineer, was maliciously using their privileged access to Yahoo email accounts and basically looking for inappropriate material, photos, and then also using passwords and such to get access to things like Dropboxes.
Are you talking self-produced porn?
Yes. I'm talking about nudes. People's nudes.
More than nudes, right?
Now, that being said, people who send nudes through email. Okay. There's other ways to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you speaking from experience?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just the whole concept of email privacy and security is just not a very good.
I get it.
You're better off using like Facebook Messenger.
I get it.
So basically, they were ordered to pay a $5,000 fine and $118,000 in restitution to Yahoo. So just some for those who don't know who used to have a Yahoo account, because people don't always have those nowadays.
Yeah. But some still do.
Some still do.
Some still
Yeah.
do. Actually, I sent an email to a person who still has a Yahoo account. Like I went, I can't believe they still have a Yahoo account.
Yahoo email is still a thing.
Yeah.
Despite all the issues it's had in the past, such as data breaches and this. It's still a thing.
And the person was still convicted. They may not have gone to
Yeah.
jail, but they were still convicted and had to pay a significant amount of money back. So.
$118,000.
I actually sent another email to somebody who still has a Hotmail account.
I see those still, yeah.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
I still see those too.
So, anyways, what else?
We talked about this on one of our previous shows. New Mac malware called ThiefQuest, basically kind of embedded into pirated software, movies, video games, and such.
For Mac.
For Mac. And it then locks at your system, and then you have to basically pay the ransomware people money to unlock it for you. Security researchers have come out with a tool to unlock it for you.
Woo!
Now, preface it with this.
Oh, you just burst my bubble.
This doesn't fix all malware types.
Of course.
I mean, most of these like new ransomware type attacks are just variations of a previous one that they didn't change much.
Yeah.
So
it's like a virus, right? Like a human virus, right? Not a computer virus. Once it recognizes.
what are you talking about?
How things change, right?
Oh.
Like a human virus will adapt to continue its reproduction once it learns it's under attack.
Didn't WHO say that there are 2 variants of the COVID virus?
I think there's more than 2 variants now, right? It's the same thing with computer viruses now, right? So I think the big message here is just because they've found a key to unlock ThiefQuest doesn't mean people should be going, yeah, here we go, who cares? No, because things change so quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
and again, Mac malware is a reality, right? Like I shared in the last show, I was in a corporate store, not owned by Apple, another corporate store, where somebody was looking at Apple computers, and they said to
notice you didn't say any names.
No names, no names. And an individual was looking at Mac computers, and they were saying, our Macs, don't have to worry about, malware and viruses and stuff. And the employee who was selling said, oh, no, Macs are absolutely safe that way, right? So, no, they're not. So you got to be aware of that. And there's now a group. There's been a consortium put together by all the big players now that have come together, and they're now offering a free service to help people unlock computers that are being attacked by malware for encryption. I mean, it's still not 100% yet.
Again, those are usually variants that they've already found fixes for.
Correct.
If you get infected with a new variant that's a new kind of code, a new key and such, then you're kind of kaput.
Hooped.
Yeah.
You're hooped.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why having backups is so important, and making sure that you sandbox those backups. So
prevention and backup.
Yeah, which is so important, right? That's what he does here in the company. That's what he's good at. Like, how many? Well, I guess we don't want to give that out, but
I have 3 stages of backups.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's
is that a lot? I don't know. I have 3 stages of backups.
I mean, you should always have a plan A, but most plans don't survive first contact, so you should always have a plan B. But Brandon's gone even further. He says, well, we're also going to have a plan C, which is really important, right? So just in case, because any company, and we know.
Just make sure I don't get hit by a bus because I have the encryption keys.
I know. Mom and Dad keep saying that. Like if for whatever reason, God forbid, you ever leave this earth, we're hooped.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. You don't even know how the studio runs anyway, so you wouldn't be able to run the studio anyway.
Don't you just come in here and turn on a button?
Yeah, no.
I mean, and he's right. Like, if you look at this studio, which you guys don't see, I mean, it
a new set being built over here.
Oh, yeah, it's just unbelievable, right? Like, we would be hooped if that happened, right? So, no, Brandon does a good job. But again, the message here is why even let the malware get onto your computer first? Make sure you take as many precautions as you can to prevent it in the first place, right? So that's the message.
DuckDuckGo. For those of you privacy conscious people, DuckDuckGo is an alternative search engine from Google, which prides itself on privacy.
Yes, that's why we recommend it for people who want to help kind of protect their digital dossier.
Yeah. So they were called out on Twitter the other day for either intentionally or unintentionally tracking website users who visited, who were using Android browsers. So using the Android browser.
Only the Android browser?
Only Android.
So if it was Safari, wouldn't...
Not that I recall. So using the Android.
Another reason why to go to Mac.
Don't use Safari.
Why?
Don't use Safari.
Why?
Use Chrome or Firefox.
Why? I like Safari. I use, depending upon what I'm doing, when I'm doing OC
Same
work,
here. I use 3 as well.
Yeah, I use 3. So depending upon what I'm doing, my normal browsing, I use Safari. If I'm doing more of the investigational side of things, I'll use Firefox or Chrome.
Yeah.
Right. So
for white hatter stuff, I use Chrome. Investigations, Firefox. For personal kind of Safari.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But this kind of did a little disappointing.
Well, here's the thing. Again,
like,
a company doing something good. So they said this was unintentional,
right?
And they fixed the issue right away. It was an issue in the code with the fave icon, and they fixed it right away. And they were like, "Yeah, sorry, it was unintentional." Because even if you're a company and you pride yourself on privacy, like DuckDuckGo, a simple little issue in one line of code could mess everything up.
Fair enough. Okay, DuckDuckGo, you got to buy.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I'll give you a buy.
It's good.
Yeah, okay. Because you've done a really good job in kind of competing against the other browsers out there that their whole purpose is to collect information, right? So, and now they themselves, the other big players, are recognizing that, and they're now introducing products into their lineups to help minimize a lot of this as well. So, good on you, DuckDuckGo, for once it was brought to your attention, you did something about it immediately. And I kind of agree with Brandon. It was probably an unintentional 0-day that nobody knew about.
Just one little line of code that was a little bit of a
So
issue.
good on you. I like DuckDuckGo.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the show Duck Hunters? Duck Hunter? Did you ever watch that on TV?
The show?
Yeah, the show.
I played Duck Hunt on the NES.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
On that NES down there.
Don't we have one?
It's one over there.
We had the little guns and a little duck. And say that again. That's exactly what it sounded like. And the ducks were like Roblox ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember those. I remember those days. Yeah, I remember those days. Interesting show, a little deeper on some of these things. So once again, I mean, hacking is always an issue, but there seems to be most companies, once it's brought to their attention, are fixing it. Those companies that don't, maybe you should be thinking, do I really want to stay with that company or product, right? So
it's a matter of even tell you about it or not.
Yeah.
Some companies go, shh, we'll fix the issue silently.
Yeah. Hey, you've done some interesting things here on the set. Right?
Yeah, updates to come.
Updates to come. And I also got a new controller. Can we show it?
I haven't played with it yet. I mean, okay.
Let's just show it though.
All right.
Let's just show the box.
Okay, we got this thing.
Look at that thing.
Which
which
is a gesture controller.
So, for those of you who have watched Iron Man, and in Iron Man, the later models, when he's down in his basement designing suits where he's doing this and the computer stuff are all in front of him and he can throw things here and throw things there and move things, and there's now a product on the market that kind of allows...
If it works...
If it does what it says it does.
If it works, it'll probably make a YouTube video about it, going how cool this is.
I know.
But I got to make sure it works, integrates with our system well.
I'm excited. Brandon is a little kind of skeptical, which I think is important, right? You have to be... It's like...
In theory, it should work the way I imagine it.
You know, one of the things that we always say is when it comes to products, you never believe anything that the vendor or the manufacturer says it does on the box until you test it first.
And this was an Indiegogo kind of like Kickstarter project.
It was.
But now it's in full.
It's in full force because it did so well, right? So it's going to be interesting. I'm very excited about it because I can see we just got to be careful about what hand gestures we're using, right? I think it'll be kind of cool, right? We could even use it for this show, doing what it is that you're doing right now.
Not for this show.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is all pre. It's more for our live productions.
Okay, I think it's going to be pretty cool though. But the other stuff that you've done on the site, like you've built these like you got a picture. The building that we're in right now is 1,200 square feet. It's a totally open room, and it's high ceilings. The ceilings are probably 25, 30 feet in height. And so, and it's made of brick, and so it was very echoey. So we were trying to suppress noise, right? So that there wasn't as much as an echo. So Brandon found this thing on YouTube, didn't you? Like how to create these sound panels?
Yeah. DIY sound panels. You get insulation foam, wrap it in
Fabric.
It's landscape fabric.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So he made these panels, and they're like 8 feet by what, 3 feet? Or not 8 feet. They're like 6 feet or 5 feet by
They're 4x2.
4x2, and he's wrapped them up. So he's now got these panels around us, and boy, I was a little skeptical.
To come.
I was a little skeptical, but it works. It's kind of interesting how it's working. We're gonna hang a couple more just to kind of narrow down a little bit more on the feedback. But I mean, he's got aircraft cord, like wires,
Aircraft cable, yeah.
cable throughout the school,
8x8,
which allows him to move curtains and soundboards and lighting.
Actually, I can probably bring the blue one over here.
I'll watch this.
Okay, I'll go do that.
So here's a good example. So right now, you're looking at our set, right? This is the set that we use as a company when we're doing a show like this, or if we're doing our webinar productions. But there are some other companies that are now asking, maybe they want, so Brandon has built it now so that he can bring in, there's a really good example, a background, so it now looks like a neutral set. I mean, we've got 2 green screens. We got one over there, we got one over there. So technically he could bring a green screen in behind us as well to do green screen work, right? Like it's kind of
plans.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing what it is that he's doing. If there is one thing that has come out of COVID, because like it or not, business for us has gone down, right? Because most of our business was in schools, so schools aren't. So we were planning to do a lot of this in the fall anyways, but we pivoted quite quickly because we'd been planning on doing this, and we'd actually introduced a lot of this 2 years ago. But out of COVID has given us an ability to kind of do some other things, right? Which is kind of cool. And Brandon's got some big ideas on things that he wants to do now, which I think is really, really cool. It's the entrepreneur in him to make it happen. So yeah, kind of cool. Pretty cool. So on behalf of myself, I'm Darren.
And Brandon, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week here on the show.
See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.